Welcome to the Frozen Takes podcast. This is Alex, and I'm with Ray. Here on this episode, we have a lot planned, a whole lot going down. We are going to be talking the NFL trade deadline, movers, shakers in the NFL, some sellers, some buyers. We're going to be talking about that. We're also at the midpoint of the NFL season. I'm surprised at a few things. I know Ray's probably surprised at a few things. We're going to be reevaluating our picks, reevaluating where we thought the NFL was going to be at this point, and then making mid-season projections. And then I have a little surprise segment for Ray. He doesn't know what's coming. We did not plan this. We did not talk about this. All I told him was, I have a surprise segment for you, and that was it. So
that scares me when you do that stuff to me.
Now, our last podcast was a duo podcast. It was with me and our buddy Fred. This time it is another duo podcast. It is yours truly and Ray. Unfortunately, Fred cannot join us. Fred has had a little bit of a situation on his end. Buddy, if you're watching this or whenever you do watch this, we're thinking of you. Our heart's with you. Fred, this one's for you, buddy.
Cheers, bud.
All right, Ray. Take point, buddy.
All right. Well, we're going to start. We'll kind of go over the trade deadline and the first half recap here. The trade deadline, to be brutally honest with you, as weird as this is going to sound, my winner from the trade deadline is the New York Jets. I think they're doing, if management can pull it off correctly, and I know that's hard to say with the Jets, if management can pull it off correctly, they have a brand new coach, let him bring in the talent that he wants. He has now brought in 3 first-round picks on top of a second. So that essentially gives them 5 first-round picks for the next 2 seasons that they can play around with. I think if they can do it right, let him build the team he wants, that team could be deadly in about 2-3 years.
I agree. And the more we kind of talked about it just between you and me, the more I'm leaning towards you. I would say they're one of the winners. I don't know if they're the winner, but I do agree that the Jets, they knew their season's in the tank. They're looking at their roster right now. They do not have a franchise quarterback. They haven't had a franchise quarterback in a long time. Last franchise quarterback they had was Mark Sanchez, and we all kind of know how that started ending with Hutch Fumble. Shut up, right?
Yeah.
And really, they haven't had a decent franchise quarterback since, Ray, you and I were kids when we were watching Chad Pennington play.
Yeah, so, that's saying something. The old Marshall quarterback.
That's going back. So the Jets realized that they had the future to look forward to. If they're going to make plans for the future, now's the time. They have pieces to do it. Sauce Gardner goes to the Colts. I didn't think he was going to be going anywhere, let alone the Colts. I didn't think the Colts had a weakness at the quarterback position. I would have thought they would have gone wide receiver, but hey, Sauce Gardner going from the 1-7 Jets to now the 7-2 Colts and being a contender.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts are. I take it back to the debate you and I had at the beginning of the season when you brought this up with the owner being on the sidelines. Because I know you were against it. I was all for it. She was trying to learn the system. She was trying to get an understanding of it. And look what she's doing now. She's making moves at the deadline to improve her team. I think she's doing the right thing, learning how to operate around Indianapolis right now, learning what she needs to do to get that team running. And with their record right now, she's trying to make a move to say, hey, we're for real this year. We're coming for you. We're bringing in the pieces we need to make this happen.
I agree. And I mean, I will take my L's whenever I have an L to take. This might be one of those L's that I have to take. The Ballard girls, they've really taken the football operations over there in Indianapolis. And the Colts, pending a collapse or pending, going up against better competition, they're looking good. I'm surprised because, honestly, I thought they would only have 2 wins this year. For those of you that remember my preseason projection, excuse me, I thought they were only going to have 2 wins this year. They've already more than tripled that. And they're in the number 1 seed right now in the AFC playoffs. Now we'll see how that plays out in the rest of the year, but howdy, the Colts, they're looking for real. They're not even led by Daniel Jones. He's just guiding them. They're being led by Fred Taylor.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's Jonathan Taylor, not Fred Taylor, by the way. You're going back to when we were growing up. Let's get back up to speed here. But no, Jonathan Taylor, I mean, bring it back to the days when quarterbacks weren't the only MVPs. Jonathan Taylor's the front runner this year, in my opinion. He is taking Indianapolis to tremendous levels with that rushing attack of his. Not to mention he's catching the ball and doing what he needs to do in open space too.
Sorry, everybody. I had to take a puff there. But yeah, no, I agree. I think Jonathan Taylor takes a lot of the pressure off of Daniel Jones from having to be the guy at quarterback, from needing to throw it 40 times a game, where they can play a more of a balanced approach.
And I think it finally gives Daniel Jones what he ultimately needed as a quarterback. A little bit of an offensive line, and this is not a dig at Barkley by any means, but an honest running game to support a decent offensive line where he can actually have the time to throw, have the time to make decisions, and everybody's so focused on the running back, they're not worried as much about what he's doing.
Right. And honestly, I think those are the two things. There were two things holding three things that were holding Daniel Jones back in New York. And Fred, he will say that it was the New York curse, and I get that. But the three things that were holding Daniel Jones back was, one, the offensive line. The New York Giants cannot put together an offensive line, which hurt Saquon Barkley, which is thing number two. Saquon just couldn't stay healthy because of a crappy offensive line. And number three was coaching and general management. The coaching staff there did not do a good job coaching their line, did not do a good job coaching Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley, and you see how that played out. Now, this season, they looked like they struck lightning in a bottle when they got Jackson Dart and they got Cam Skattebo, but now Cam Skattebo, he has had a devastating injury, and he's probably not going to be back to what he was. He's going to get close, but all the medical experts that I've listened to, and I work with physicians, have said it's an injury he can recover from, but he's not going to be back to 100% what he was before. So you're looking at Cam
Skattebo. Didn't they say the injury was worse than a dislocation? He tore ligaments and all sorts of other stuff too.
He dislocated. Yeah, he had a dislocation and then torn ligaments. The anterior ligament that he tore can be repaired, but that has a big detriment. An injury to that ligament is a huge detriment to running backs. It's a stabilizing ligament. It's a ligament that's used in planting, in cutting, and for a running back, that's all you do is planting and cutting. So Cam Skattebo, our hearts here at the Frozen Takes crew go out to him. We really enjoyed talking about him. We hope that he has a speedy recovery, and we look forward to having him back on the football field. But I don't know if he's going to be the Cam Skattebo that we saw in the first 6 weeks.
And to be honest with you, that injury to him changed my projection of the Giants for the rest of the season, because whenever Dart finally stepped in and Skattebo finally took in, it was young blood for the Giants. They were out for blood. They upset your Philadelphia Eagles the first time they played out of 2 games. It was a new regime in New York, if you will. They were ready to go. That injury set them back. Now we're focused on Jackson Dart. We don't have to worry about the running game of Skattebo anymore. And it kind of dropped their trajectory of how I projected them to go, because Fred was high on them, and the way it turned out with those rookies, he had every right to be. It was all there, like he said.
And that's totally not even talking about the injury to Malik Nabers.
Yeah,
Nabers is out for the whole year, and then the second and third option that they had at wide receiver is underwhelming. They had to call up guys from their practice squad that, granted, like you said, they mossed the Eagles cornerbacks when the Eagles and Giants played the first time. And we'll get to the Eagles cornerback room in the trade when we talk about the trades. But, you can't rely on practice squad players that long whenever you have a premier wide receiver one that can't stay healthy, and you're trying to bring along your first or second round quarterback in Jackson Dart, and you have a 4th round running back that's playing out of his mind, but then he goes down. There's just a lot going on in New York that's just conspiring against them.
Yeah. And speaking, since we're on the NFL recap here a little bit too, I want to focus a little bit on my division, if you will, the NFC North. I have my notes right here. I took a little bit of my standings with my predictions of the future here. Going over this, Green Bay is 5-2-1, 1-0 in the division. The Lions are 5-3 and 1-2 in the division, which I think is surprising a lot of people that they've lost 2 division games this early in the year. The Bears are 5-3 with an 0-2 division record, and the Vikings, who are in 4th place at 4-4, are undefeated in the division at 2-0. This division has to be the closest division in football right now. I don't think there's any other division with this much competition to try to win their own respective division.
No, and talking about division competition, that is a division that is up for grabs. Even though the Packers are 5-2-1, in the wins they've had, it's aside from one game against the Commanders, they've been kind of squeaking by. And I know, Ray, that you look at ties the way I do. A tie might as well be a loss. A tie is not a win. So really, in our minds here on the Frozen Takes crew, at least the two of us here, the Packers are 5-3. They're not 5-2-1. They're 5-3. So when you look at the NFC North, it is a division that is up for grabs. The Packers going into the back half of their season, they're looking gettable, in my opinion. They look gettable. So even if you're the Vikings, you got to be thinking high of yourself, especially now that you got J.J. McCarthy back. He's going to be working on his connection with Justin Jefferson.
And the irony with J.J. McCarthy, I was not high on him to start the year. I didn't think he was going to be great. Coming off of that injury, I wasn't sure what to expect. They go in, beat the Bears in week 1. He gets hurt. They ride Carson Wentz for a while. They have him playing hurt, which I think is wrong what they did to him there. I think that was very wrong what they did to him in Minnesota.
I mean, you all know I don't like Carson Wentz, but even that was doing the man dirty.
But even then, he comes back and then beats the Lions in Detroit in his first game back after that. I mean, I almost am getting a hint of Tom Brady-esque. I'm not trying to say that he is Tom Brady, but he's winning games. He's from Michigan, and he's winning games. He's not putting up stats, but, I mean, what can you say?
I mean, I think we're starting to see a bit of a, and this is getting into more of a NFL kind of change in the identity of the NFL. But there for the last 5-10 years, going back to when we were in our early 20s, the NFL was all about quarterbacks that could throw for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns a game. That's how you measured a quarterback as a good quarterback. That's
you looked at Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, just to name a couple right there.
Exactly. But that's not the way the NFL is anymore. When we grade quarterbacks, now you'll still have guys like that. You got your Josh Allens, you got your Patrick Mahomes, you got the guys that can put up those kind of numbers. However, what we've seen over the past 5, 6, 7 years, those guys are not always the ones standing at the end of the season with the Super Bowl trophy in their hands. It's the guys that have 200 yards throwing, maybe 50 yards running, and 2 touchdowns if they're lucky. It's the guys that know how to take advantage when they can, that can read the defense properly, that aren't throwing the ball over the field because they don't have to. They can pick apart defenses, and then because of the team around them, can then rely on the running game.
Yeah. I mean, look at what the 49ers have done with their offense for years now. I'm still not sold on Brock Purdy. I don't think he is the elite quarterback level that everybody makes him out to be. I think they threw away a ton of money whenever they gave him that big contract extension. But again, they're still winning. They're winning football games. This whole season for the 49ers has been next man mentality, because once one guy goes down, another guy goes down, and yet they are still, let me correct myself, 6-3 and 3-0 in their division, which just is mind-blowing to me.
It's mind-blowing to me, and if I may go on a slight tangent here, I don't know if you've seen it, Ray. I've definitely seen it because it's all over my NFL feed. Are 49ers fans saying, why do the 49ers build their stadium where they build it? It's next to a power substation, and that's messing with creating injuries on the football field. Stop it. Stop.
Injuries happen. Yeah, I'm not buying that.
Just stop it. If that was the case, anybody with a cell phone would be constantly hurt. Stop it. That's not what it is. In football, I will say that the reason why the 49ers are facing so many injuries is a few things. One, luck. It just is what it is. Look back to the 2013 Philadelphia Eagles. They were injury riddled. They had injuries too, not just these guys, but more. Michael Vick, LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun McCoy, Jason Peters, Brent Selleck. Their whole offense at one point was nothing but second string guys, nowhere near us power substation. Stop it. Also, The 49ers play a brand of very aggressive, hard-hitting football. And unless you're trained well for it, unless you have good conditioning, you're just not you're not going to make it. And these guys have been playing that kind of football for years of hard-hitting, full throttle football. It looks good. It sounds good. It's great for those old school footballers like us, but that's just not the NFL anymore. So I hate to say it, but this is kind of catching up to the 49ers. Their play style is what's catching up to them, and then their training, conditioning, and medical staff. Their medical staff is not considered one of the better medical staffs in the NFL. Again, I hate to use the Eagles as a barometer here, but after the 2013-14 season, the Philadelphia Eagles totally revamped their training staff, totally revamped their medical staff, and now their medical staff is considered one of the best in the NFL, and they're one of the few teams that have injuries under the average in the NFL. So just stop it with the nonsense. And like you say, Ray, a lot of it is just luck.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just, like you said, ultimately just, pardon my language here, I said I wasn't going to do this on the podcast, but shit luck. That's ultimately what it is. Let's be brutally honest. But, I mean, I used to credit a lot of the injuries that Green Bay had to the cold weather and the frozen tundra, freezing temperatures, you get hit on the ground. You heard me say that quite a bit, but ultimately it comes down to you just had an unlucky break. That's all the more it really is with injuries. I don't wish injuries on anybody. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, I did it again. My dad, if you're watching, you son of a gun, ever since you pointed it out to me, I catch myself every time I say that word ultimately now. But anyway, it's just one of those things where I would love to beat a team at their best, and it just takes. Granted, I love it when my team wins, but it's not as fulfilling whenever another team's going through a crappy streak of luck and players are getting hurt.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But yeah, going into more of the trade deadline recap, another big trade that had happened was the Cowboys, which baffles me to no end. I'm trying to get into Jerry Jones' mind here. Beginning of the year, he gets rid of Micah Parsons to Green Bay. He says we need to build on our defense. First off, what? So then he goes out, he gets a linebacker from the Bengals that nobody's ever really heard of, and then he goes and gets Williams from the Jets and pays a first and a second round pick for it.
This is just Jerry Jones. First of all, Jerry Jones, I mean, Jerry Jones isn't going to watch this podcast, so screw it. I'm going to say whatever I want. Jerry Jones is full of a bunch of hot air.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody say this. I believe it was either on the PFF show or it was on Stephen A's podcast, is that Jerry Jones, he doesn't look at wins. He looks at team valuation. How valuable is his team? He's not looking at wins.
Way to put it. I never thought of that.
He's not looking at wins. He's looking at team valuation, and he's looking at headlines. If you notice, the last game the Cowboys played against the Cardinals, all that was being talked about was the Cowboys, they're going to make another move. Jerry Jones, he's talking about making another move, but he's not telling us. What is it going to be? What is it going to be? It's all about headlines. It's not about winning football games. It's about keep drawing attention to the Cowboys. It's all about America's team. You're not going to win a damn thing. Again, like you said, I promise I would never swear. But you're not going to win a damn thing if you're not focused on football. As Jalen Hurts says, you got to make the main thing, and that's football.
Yeah. I just it just kind of shocked me to see the Cowboys were making moves over some other teams that could be potentially making moves. It's almost as if they still have a chance to make the playoffs. And earlier in this year, I even said myself, their defense is going to lose them in the playoffs, but I thought their offense had enough firepower to bring them still close to the playoffs. The way they played against the Cardinals, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit more on that now.
Right now, the Cowboys have 9% chance of getting into the playoffs, and that's as a wild card. 9% chance. They're not making it into the playoffs. As a matter of fact, just to kind of get a tangent here, which is what Ray and I do when we talk about football, we get off on tangents. The NFC East is so clearly the Eagles' division right now. This is the
Yeah,
first time.
there's nobody even close.
This is the first time in 21 years that a team has had more than a 2-game lead in the division. The Cowboys are not, they're making moves just to look cute. You can't do that. If I was Jerry Jones, which clearly I'm not, if I was Jerry Jones in the front office, I would be in sell, sell, sell mode. Right now, you got Dak Prescott and you got CeeDee Lamb getting toward the back.
They're keeping that team together, though. If you take those two out of there, they're worse than the Jets, in my opinion, right now.
They need to be selling, not buying.
Well, here the way I look at the NFC East right now is you're a couple big injuries away from having a few teams compete with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about the Cowboys either, as weird as that is to say. I'm talking like Cam Scatterboo injury away from the Giants being relevant again, and I'm talking Jaden Daniels injury from the Washington being relevant, because this is the second time he's hurt, and with what just happened to his elbow, he's done for the year now too.
You know what I thought of whenever I saw his injury, and please, dear Lord, please, if you're watching this podcast, take my advice. Do not watch his injury in slow-mo. It is gruesome. It is. Ugh. But anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I don't know about you, but one of the first things that came to my mind whenever I saw Jaden Daniels go down was, this is RG3 all over again.
Well, was that his throwing arm? That's the only thing I didn't pay attention to.
No, it was his left arm, but as a quarterback, you need that arm, and you're going to see me do a terrible impression here. Your left arm is part of what helps you generate rotational power. Think about it, if you're like as an ice skater, when you have your arms way out wide like this, you're going slow. But if you have your arm close, you have that ability to create more torque and more velocity. With that elbow hurt, he can't do that. He's going to be in for a lot of rehab.
Well, I agree with you, but at the same time, this isn't Alex Smith. This isn't Joe Theismann. This isn't RG3. It wasn't his leg. I still think he has a chance to come back and have a little bit more of a better comeback from his injury than what those three did with this catastrophe of injuries they had.
But for me, I just couldn't help but think, dang, Washington has terrible quarterback injury luck. Terrible.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then we talked a lot about the NFC. The one thing we haven't touched on yet is the NFC West. And I was hesitant to talk about this because of my take from the beginning of the year, which by all means roast the crap out of me for this. I deserve every bit of this. If you look at it, as hilarious as this is, flip it around, and that's exactly what my prediction was based on what the actual standings are. Literally just flip it around. Because your Seahawks, who I had predicted to be worst, are first in the division at 6-2. The Rams are second at 6-2. The 49ers are third at 6-3, and then there's my Cardinals at 3-5. And they look better with Jacoby Brissett than they do Kyler Murray. I don't understand why Arizona is playing so poorly. They've had so many close games. They should have a team to do it. This clearly proves to me this year Kyler Murray was not the guy that everybody thought he was, and they need to move on from him.
I agree. I agree. I think Kyler Murray is not the answer at quarterback. I think they have a few other holes, especially on their offense. They need a wide receiver too, opposite of Marvin Harrison Jr. But their tight end is great. Their tight end is fantastic. They're a couple pieces, a wide receiver and a younger, better quarterback away from being a legitimate threat in the NFC West. Now, we all said at the beginning of the year that the NFC North was going to be the division that was up for grabs. I, for one, said that the NFC East was going to be the NFC Beast. We were both wrong. It's the NFC West. It's now
without a doubt. I'm amazed because it's the Seahawks and Sam Darnold and those wide receivers are just coming out and firing on people, which I did not expect. I thought they traded their talent away. They got rid of people. I thought it's a rebuilding year. They're not going to do anything. Sam Darnold was a fluke. He's proven me wrong. I like you said earlier, I'll eat my L's where I got to take him. Sam Darnold's playing way better than I had predicted him to. Maybe this wasn't a fluke season. Maybe he just had a bad rap. Went to New York, where the death of all quarterbacks seems to be out in New York. No offense to any Jets fans out there. I mean, he's showing that he can roll with it, and he's doing great. They just made another big move for help me out here. He's the Saints wide receiver too, not Olave, but the other guy.
Rashee Rice?
Not Rice.
Rashee
Starts with an S. Yeah.
No. Rashee.
But anyway, they just brought him in as well at Seattle. So now they have a couple good wide receivers out there. Darnold's doing great. Their defense is doing great. It'll be. We'll go into more of my predictions later on because, as well as what I said about the NFC North, I think you're going to be very surprised by how my season started with predictions to how I have it going halfway through.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, one other kind of group of trades that we didn't talk about, and as an Eagles fan, I got to mention, the Eagles went out.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
We're gonna. So the Eagles went out and made a few trades. They did make a trade for a depth quarterback at cornerback too, who's probably going to be the cornerback depth at nickel. But then they make two trades. They trade for cornerback Jaire Alexander, who was previously a Packer, went to Baltimore. He's now an Eagle. And then they trade for Jalen Phillips, edge rusher out of Miami. Howie Roseman just keeps running circles around the NFL. This guy's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers.
So I've seen a couple things, and I'm going to make a comment about that trade too. I've seen Scooter McGruger is a very good social media personnel. He's obviously a big Cowboys fan. None of us are Cowboys fans, but he made a comment that I got a kick out of. Is like, when are we going to unite and quit trading with the Eagles? That was his one comment. Is when are we going to unite and learn our lesson? Never. And then it doesn't matter what he seems to do. He seems to find a way to pull out a trade and bring his team back to relevancy again. And how ironic is it that Jaire Alexander has been a healthy scratch 3 weeks in a row. Now all of a sudden he gets traded to the Eagles. They're playing the Packers. He goes, "Hey guys, I can play again."
I do find that kind of ironically funny, but it's not without a little bit of concern for me, just as a football guy. So when Jaire Alexander was playing in Baltimore, 5 passes defense, 5 catches allowed for over 100 yards. He would have had another one, but it was called back for offensive pass interference, and there was a touchdown that got called back. So he wasn't playing that great in Baltimore, but I think that was more of a schematic fit or misfit, really. I don't think Jaire Alexander was really fit to play well in Baltimore and fit into their defensive scheme. I do think he's more of an off-ball cornerback, if you will. He's not the kind of guy that's going to play jam. He's not the kind of guy that's going to play press. He's more of that, give you a 5-yard cushion, and I'll just beat you with my hips and beat you with positioning. That's the kind of cornerback that Jaire Alexander is. And you know that as a Packers fan.
Yeah, when he played, he was great for us on defense. But that was the problem ultimately, is when he played. That was ultimately what led to Green Bay saying, "We're going to separate ways. We don't want you to come back." And he went to Baltimore after that. Which, to be honest with you, this was supposed to be the reunion of Lamar and Alexander. They went to college at Louisville together. This was supposed to be their year. And ultimately, I don't understand what happened to Baltimore this year. Lamar Jackson's come back. They won their first game with him back, but they're still 3-5. What happened to the Baltimore Ravens this year? They were Super Bowl favorites amongst a lot of people, if not us included, in fact, if I remember correctly. So, which another ironic fact to that is, while they're 3-5, now that Lamar's back and playing, they are favored to win the AFC North still this year by Vegas. It's just amazing to me what the Raven effect is and how bad that division currently is right now.
That division isn't the greatest, but I will say this, and this goes out to one of my coworkers, Vince. He's a big Steelers fan. The Steelers, they're not bad. Aaron Rodgers
Their defense is atrocious this year, and that's not heard of for Pittsburgh football.
But they did go out there and they did beat the Colts. So they can go out there and they can put up a game. Oh boy, they can go up and put up a game when they got to put up a game and play. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
They're playing so inconsistent on defense. It's ridiculous. They're beating teams they are supposed to be in contention, like close games with, and losing to teams. No offense to my Packers, but they're losing to teams they shouldn't be losing to.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at with the Steelers. Like, they're too inconsistent. That's not going to make it help you in the playoffs. You're going to run into that freight train Baltimore when they finally get moving again, and they're going to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah. And apologies to those of you that are watching. Ray and I are dealing with some wind issues. I'm getting a bit of a wind gust here in Mechanicsburg myself, so apologies to all you guys watching. But yeah, I do think that that Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, they can beat anybody. The thing that's their Achilles heel, and pardon that pun, holy moly, the issue, man, it's like a freaking tornado out here. The issue, jeez, a little. Oh my God! Sorry, we're putting this podcast on hold a minute while I react to the wind. Holy freaking moly! Jeez, a little. It's going nuts over here. I might go.
The worst part about the wind tonight and the weather is my kids and I were looking forward to the super moon that's out. The Beaver moon, I think it was called. It was supposed to be like a reddish tint to it. It's supposed to be closer and brighter. And we got nothing but clouds.
Yeah. No, clouds and about 60 mile per hour wind.
If any of you can see it tonight, enjoy it while you can, because it's supposed to be something that is beautiful to see. I'm unfortunate that I can't see it. My buddy Alex is unfortunate that he can't see it, so hopefully you guys can see it and enjoy it.
No,
but anyway, circling back to sports here.
That was the weather forecast brought to you by First and But yeah, Baltimore, as long as they have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry on the field, they have a chance to win. But the Achilles heel with them is, pardon the pun, is their defense. Their defense has been hurt a lot, and a lot of their key pieces have been getting hurt. Now, they're going to be getting some guys back. We'll see. The back half is really where you need to turn it on.
Ultimately, though, and I've said this many, many, many times, and I know you've heard me say this many times, all you need to do is make it there. And if you can get healthy and hot at the right time, you're golden for the playoffs. That's all you need to make it into the playoffs, is to be healthy and hot at the right time. Otherwise, you could be great all regular season. If something happens where you start falling apart in the end, look what happened to your Eagles a few years ago, because I still ride you about that quite a bit. One of the collapses they had.
Yeah.
But and Green Bay's done it too. Look how many times they've had the number one seed. 15-1 they went one year, lost in the championship game. It's a matter of getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
But the biggest surprise to me in the AFC out of everything else right now is your number one teams in the other divisions outside of the North are the Colts, the Patriots, and the Broncos. Nobody saw that coming. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. Nobody saw that coming.
I will say this, though. I did see a little bit of it coming, because I said the Broncos were going to be a team to watch. Sure enough, they are. They are they're the best team right now in the AFC West. They've had one up.
They are 0-1 in the AFC West. They are 0-1 in the AFC West.
It's early. It's early. But they have They have a better overall record than anybody else in the AFC West right now. Do not sleep on the Broncos. Like I said from day one, back before week one, do not sleep on the Broncos. These guys are for real. Now, I have to say this for my buddy Travis. Holy crap! Now it's starting to pour. What is going on? Is it like Moses out here? Like, good grief! Jeez, do I need to build an ark or something, man? Jeez.
I haven't got the rain yet, but I'm about, an hour and a half, 2 hours away from you, so.
Now, you're about an hour away from me, and you might want to start building an ark. Anyway, yeah, now you're getting the win. Anyway. So one thing I didn't see coming, and this is for my buddy Travis. He ironically lives out in Philadelphia. The Patriots, they've been a bit of a sleeper team. They're sitting at 6-2. They've been quietly stacking wins,
7-2. Correct,
playing solid football. The Patriots, keep an eye on the Patriots. They're right now the leading team in the AFC East. We're going to see what's going on with them.
And they beat Buffalo already this year, which really surprised me. I did not expect them to, not to mention beat Buffalo, but to be first in the division and 2-0 in division at the halfway point of the year. Like, there's just a lot of surprises. Like, I knew Mike Vrabel was a great coach. I knew he was going to do something in New England. I just didn't think it was going to be this quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was a little iffy on Mike Vrabel. Coming into the year, I was like,
I think he had a management in Tennessee that did not bring him the help he needed, and they were trying to do what they felt best instead of helping the coach in his scheme. Where in New England, I think he's going to get what he needs because that guy wants New England back to where they were before with Belichick and Brady.
And honestly, I think a good bit of it is the familiarity factor there. Mike Vrabel playing in New England, he's familiar with Robert Kraft. He's familiar with the Patriot way. Now, granted, he's not Bill Belichick. He is his own man. He is his own person, but he brings that credibility with him. He knows the building. He knows the organization. He's a player's coach. He has guys that buy in. And I think he's got the guys in New England bought in.
Yeah. So we've talked about the good teams in the NFL. Let's talk about the teams where your coach is on the hot seat for this year. First team I'm going to touch on is the Miami Dolphins. I was higher on them this year. Thought they'd squeak into the playoffs, but they were going to lose in the wild card. But 2-7, 1-2 in the division. The Dolphins have just completely fallen off the map. I don't know what's going on down there in Miami. I know there's a lot of people saying it's time to move on from Tua. The game I watched when they played Baltimore, they looked great in the first half, in my opinion, from what I saw. They were doing the right things. They were just, unfortunately, on the shorthand of a lot of plays. They had a penalty get called back that shouldn't have with that tripping penalty. I don't know if you saw what I'm talking about there or not. Then they had a couple untimely penalties, a missed field goal. They were in that game in the first half. But then all of a sudden, the second half, is that a play calling issue? Is that a player's issue? Who knows what happened down there? And yep, here's the win for me.
It's coming your way, buddy. But no, I agree. My prediction in the preseason and going into the first game of the year was that the Dolphins, they were going to go on a 7-game win streak to start the year, and then for the back half of the year, this time of the year is when you start to see them start to falter. I don't see them coming back from this, especially now that they've been on the sellers market leading up into the trade deadline. I don't know what's going on in Miami, man. I will say my prediction is that Mike McDaniel, their coach, he is going to get fired. There's no way.
The sad part is he would make a great offensive coordinator somewhere. He's not a bad coach. I just think that everything derailed with what he thought was going to work the first time around. But I feel like once he gets another coordinator position, wherever he goes, that team's going to thrive on offense.
I agree. So I can't say what happened in Miami. I don't know what happened in Miami, but whatever happened, it didn't work. Boy, howdy, they just have fallen apart. Again, I keep going back to, I thought they were going to start the season 7-0 and then hit a rough patch, because to me, whenever I looked at their schedule on paper, I saw a schedule that was rough on the back half. I did not see this coming.
Yeah. And the other coach I see in the hot seat is Fred's Giants, Brian Dable. I think ultimately he would have had his job saved if Scatterboo hadn't got hurt, because he was going to be the savior to that team with Jackson Dart. Those two coming in, giving them a younger, new energy, was going to take them to places they haven't been in a while. But now that he's hurt and he's still not winning games again, I think this might be his last year in New York.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm a little bullish. I'm a little bullish on him, and the reason why is this: if he can get into second place in the NFC East and at least not be an embarrassment, he's going to get one more year. But if the last half of this season is as bad as you and I think it might be, where they just fall apart, where they're just getting the brakes beat off of them, yeah, he's going to be done.
Yeah. But, I mean, ultimately, I guess it's going to come down to how good is Jackson Dart and how good's the play calling going to be for New York the rest of the season. So, excuse me. So that's our little bit of our recap from the first half of the year. I have my predictions wrote down here. I don't know how you have yours wrote down. If you dotted them down in your tablet, Jesus Christ, what you did. Oh, you have them up here? Okay. Well, I have my handy dandy notebook here, and I'm going to go through everything in my notebook with you. Since
if we can,
stuff's falling over on my porch now.
holy moly!
So
if we could, do you have it written down division by chance?
Yes, I do, sir.
Let's go division by division, buddy.
All right. We'll start in the AFC. We'll go to our side last. Our favorite teams, we'll bring them up last. Because I actually have something that I think is going to shock you with the NFC North. I don't think you have. Maybe you do. I don't know. We'll see. We'll start with what I have here in the AFC North. Right now, currently, it is Steelers are 5-3, 1-1. Ravens are 3-5, 1-0. Your Bengals are 3-6 and 2-0, ironically enough. And the Browns are 2-6 and 0-3. Here's how I have that division finishing. I have the Ravens winning out and going 12-5, undefeated in the division. I'm still high on Baltimore. Roster is still one of the best rosters in the NFL. They just got to get it together. Now that they're getting healthy, they have an easy back half of the schedule. This is theirs for the taking. I'm still high on Baltimore right now. The Steelers I have finishing 9-8, 3-3 in their division. The Bengals I have finishing 6-11. They get 3 more wins. Unfortunately, Joe Burrow effect. That's ultimately what it is in Cincinnati. You built your team around Joe Burrow. When he goes down, you're in trouble. And then the Browns finishing 3-14, getting 1 more win. That's how I have the rest of the NFC looking this year.
I'm not really looking at anybody else but the tops. The top team coming out of that division. I think it is the Baltimore's division that they're going to win. I don't have them going 12-5. I think they're going to go 10-6, maybe 9-7. But I think they're going to win the back half of the year, and they're going to get that number 1 spot in their division just based off of tiebreakers.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Steeler fans, I hate to break this to you, but while I am a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, your defense just isn't hacking it for him this year. You're learning from my past few years as a Green Bay fan what it's like to have a great offense and a shitty defense. So, but it's ironically enough. Let me double check myself. I still have the Steelers in the playoffs with that 9-8 record.
Oh my!
We'll get to that as we're going on here. But anyway, so how do you have it playing out? You just have the Ravens winning. How do you have the rest of it playing out? Just the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns, like I do, or what are you thinking?
I think that's a fair assessment. I'm not going to get into the brass tacks of record, but I think the Ravens will get there. The Steelers may just based off, excuse me, the Steelers may get into the playoffs just based on tiebreakers or overall strength of schedule. But I agree. I think the Ravens are going to win that division. It's going to be by the skin of their teeth. I'm not taking them at 12-5, maybe 11-6 or 10 or 11-6 or 10-7.
Yeah, and I was higher on the Bengals. They were getting to this year, if you remember correctly, but injuries play a factor into a lot of these preseason predictions too. If Joe Burrow doesn't go down, look at the way the Bengals have still been in these games. I feel like Cincinnati could have been easily 6-3 instead of 3-6 right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But moving on from there, we are going to go to the AFC South, which has surprised a lot of people this year. The Colts are sitting at 7-2 currently with 2-0. The Jags are 5-3, 1-0. The Texans are 3-5, 1-1, and your Titans are 1-8, 0-3. Here's where I think you might look at me like, are you serious right now? The Colts, while yes, I still have them winning the division, are only going to get 3 more wins the rest of the year. They're going to finish 10-7 with a 5-1 record in their division. Ironically enough, all 3 of their wins are going to be in division. The Texans are going to go 9-8 with a 4-2 record in division. Jags, I have 7-10, so they're only going to win 2 more from my predictions with a 2-4 division record. And the Titans will squeak out a couple more, but ultimately finish 4-13, 1-5 in the division.
I don't know about that. I do think that this is going to be the Colts here. I think they're going to be floor is 12-5. I think they could easily be 13-4 if they keep this up, especially with the trade now for Sauce Gardner. I think that this is going to be their year to lead that division. And I do think the Jaguars could squeak into the playoffs. I think they may be your other squeaker in the AFC. But I think it's going to be Colts 1, Jaguars 2.
I don't want to give up on the Texans yet. Yes, their offensive line is atrocious, but their defense is just so solid. It just makes me believe that eventually they're going to figure it out, get it together. But that's just me holding on to that hope of defense winning championships still.
Let me just pose this to you, Ray. Other than the Chiefs' offensive line last year, in every Super Bowl in the last 5 years, what has been one thing that every Super Bowl team has had in spades, and that is a solid, respected, tough offensive line, and that is not what the Houston Texans have.
No, I'm not saying they're Super Bowl contenders by any means, but I just to squeak into the playoffs and build up in the second half of the year, to rally around that defense and just build up a little bit. I just feel like they got to get it together soon. They were so highly ranked going into this season. Not even highly ranked, but just as far as the division goes, they were supposed to be the top dog, and they're third right now. They're with a 3-5 record. They have to pick it up at some point because eventually somebody's going to start asking questions like, where did we go wrong this year? This was not supposed to be how our year went.
Frozen take alert. I'm going to make my frozen take. If D'Amico Ryans doesn't pick it up by the middle part of next year, he will be fired.
I think this is just a fluke year. I think if you give them an offseason to get offensive linemen, they already have the defense in place to start making noise. They just need a little bit of more couple pieces on offense, and they're going to be right back to where they were last year.
We shall see.
But that is my take, my prediction there. I even have the playoffs predicted again for the end of the year. So I don't know where you're at with that. I don't know if you have that up here as well. But we'll see. The AFC East, another surprising one right here, mainly because of who's in first. And it's not the Buffalo Bills. It is the New England Patriots, 7-2, 2-0. You have the Bills at 6-2, 2-1. The Dolphins 2-7, 1-2. The Jets 1-7, 0-2. It's essentially a tale of who's going to win it between the top two teams. And the way I played it out, I went and did our season simulator like I did last time. I let the games play out the way they have so far. I simulated the back half games that are played. While I have New England going 6-0 in their division, the Bills are still going to come out first in that division with a 14-3 record. That is my prediction right there.
I think this is going to be the Bills' division. I think the Bills are going to be number one, but I think it's going to come down to the last game between these two teams that's going to determine the division. I think both teams are going to be strong. I don't know about the Patriots. I don't think they're going to keep up this kind of momentum. I do think they're going to get overtaken by the Bills. But as far as the division crown, it's going to come down to their next game that they face against each other. That's what the division is going to come down to.
And I have both of them making the playoffs. I don't see either of them missing it the way they're both playing right now. I don't want to say they're a lock because this season has been so unpredictable compared to other seasons. But
yeah,
I'm going to say right now, and from my take, I guess I should say, the Patriots and the Bills are both going to be locks for the AFC.
I would say this has been, and sorry, you guys, I'm trying to just position my phone here. I think this is just my opinion. I think this has been the most unpredictable season I've ever seen.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's just, I'm watching these games going, what?
What weird, wacky universe is this? Like, I mean, this is getting off on a bit of a tangent, which is what we do. But I saw this said in the political sphere, but I'm going to say here about football. Once, what was that gorilla that got hurt, that got killed or whatever?
Harambe or whatever his name was?
Once Harambe got killed, man, we got sent into some weird, wacky alternate timeline. This is the weird, wacky timeline we're in now. Once Harambe
Next you're going to tell me when we stormed Area 51, everything got wackadoodled then, too.
Fuck Area 51. Harambe was our anchor being, man. So, this is the podcast where we're just saying words. We're cursing. Area 51. Harambe was our anchor being, man.
Oh, man. I actually just got into going into another tangent and way off topic of football here. A thing on Facebook earlier where I was like, I'm going to die on this mountain. Jim Carrey's version of The Grinch is the best Grinch version out of any of them.
Oh, yeah. For
and
sure.
then it's turned into agree to disagree, and I actually had one person say they had a soft spot for the originals, which I said, well, I grew up with Jim Carrey, you know, that was my soft spot, and their response to that was, oh, so it's just because I'm old.
Old? Go away.
No, that they're old because they enjoy the originals more than the Jim Carrey one. Not because we are getting old, but not because we're old, but because of that reason right there.
Oh, what? I mean, I agree. Jim Carrey's, yes, I have a soft spot for the originals too, but Jim Carrey's is just better.
Yeah. But side tangent, we're going back to football here again. We do this quite a bit. Back on track here. The AFC West, that's the last of the AFC right here that I have for you. And then I'll give you my 1 through 7. You can give me your top 7 if you have them up here for you then. Currently, the Broncos are 7-2, but 0-1 in the division, which you'll see that I have that being their Achilles heel in a second here. The Chargers at 6-3 and 3-0 in the division. The Chiefs at 5-4, 1-1 in the division, and the Raiders at 2-6, 0-2 in the division. I have the Chiefs still winning this division. They're getting everybody back. They're getting hot again.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, Kansas City, as far as the AFC goes, is the man. Granted, the Eagles knocked them off Super Bowl champs last year, but nobody's knocked them off in the AFC yet. So until you can beat the man, you're not the man. It's the Chiefs division to win. I have the Chiefs at number 1 in the West. I have the Broncos, ironically enough, the same record as the Chiefs, but the division record's what knocks them down into second place.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Again, I will keep saying this, and I believe I think this is the episode where I'm going to keep saying I said this before, but I said this at the beginning of the season that I am not somebody that's going to bet on sports. I just don't bet on sports. But if I bet on sports, I would have put my money at the beginning of the year on the Broncos. I would be looking at the ticker right now, getting excited because I would probably be getting a decent payday. And I don't bet on sports. But I do think it's going to come down to the Chiefs. Like you said, they're getting guys back. They're getting wide receivers back. They're going to be attacking this last half of the year. It is going to come down to the Broncos and the Chiefs. And like we said about the AFC East with the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots, it's going to come down to their last division meeting between the two of them, I think. Could it be the same division record, same overall record? Probably. But it's going to come down to in-division record and strength of schedule.
Unfortunately, I'm giving it to the Chiefs as far as, oh, Jesus. Stuff's flying in the air, guys. We're not in Kansas anymore.
Now you're getting
it. But anyway. Huh?
Now you're getting it.
But, yeah. But I think that's ultimately what it is. The division record is what gives Kansas City the division in this one.
I'm still high on the Broncos. I'm going to live and die on that hill.
But so going into my top 7, we're just going to round out the AFC here. My top 7, I have the Bills finishing as your number 1 team in the AFC. I don't remember. I think I had Baltimore last time and the Bills at number 2. We're bumping the Bills up to number 1 this time.
I agree.
Kansas City is going to finish second in the conference. That game that they just played against Buffalo is what gets them there. If Kansas City had won that, we'd be looking at home field through Kansas City again. Number 3 is Baltimore. Like I said, they have an easy back half of the schedule, and I just see them running the table and making some noise in the second half of the year. The Colts I have at number 4. The only reason I have them at 4 is because this is almost a too good to be true kind of story for Indianapolis. And every time we've had a too good to be true story with a football team, something's happened to derail their season. While I would love to see them win, I just don't foresee it happening. I have New England making it as number 5, the best team of the wild cards, the Broncos at number 6, and the Steelers squeaking in at number 7. That is how I have your AFC top 7 playoff picture.
I think that's fair. The only thing I would switch would be the Chiefs and the Broncos. That would be the only thing I would switch.
So, I mean, it's while we could say this year has been unpredictable, I think we're starting to get a sense of who we're going to see in the playoffs. It's just going to be the unpredictability of who wins out of those teams in the playoffs, if you will.
Yep.
But here's where it gets fun. I'm so ready to start the NFC because I want to see your take on a couple of my predictions here. Because there's one division in particular, but two divisions I think you might be like, where's Ray going with this? What's he thinking? We'll start with the easier one of them because I know we're all going to be in agreement on this. So that'll be the NFC South. You have the Buccaneers, who are currently at 6-2, 2-0. The Panthers at 5-4, which is surprising me. 1-0, coming off of a win against Green Bay. But anyway, the Falcons at 3-5, 0-2. The most inconsistent team in football right now, in my opinion, because you don't know if they're good or bad. You never know what Falcons team you're going to get.
No.
And then you have the Saints at 1-8, 0-1. The division's going to stay the same as it is right there. The win totals might vary a little bit for my predictions, but right there, what I just listed you is how that division is going to play out. Bucks win it. They're going to go 13-4. They're going to sweep the division. It's the Bucks year.
I agree. Now, I did say at the beginning of the year that the Buccaneers were going to be the 1 seed in the NFC. In the NFC, I think I'm going to tweak that a little bit. I do think they're going to lose a couple more games. I had them going 15-2, but I think 13-4 is about right.
Yeah, that's where I actually have them, but back half as well, 13-4 right here. And yeah, it's the Panthers, while have been showing signs that, hey, we're back. We're playing some good football again. I don't think they can sustain that this year. I think maybe another year or two they may be up there with Tampa, but right now I think they're going to start slowly fading back again in the second half of the year here.
I agree.
Now we'll go to the NFC East because I'm saving the best for last. Currently, well, we've already talked about this. The Eagles are 6-2, 2-1. The Cowboys are 3-5-1, 2-1. Washington is 3-6, 1-1. Giants are 2-7, 1-3. The only thing I'm switching in that is the Giants are going to finish third in the division this year. With Jaden Daniels out in Washington and a lot of their other key pieces out, that team is going to fall apart. They're not going to be the team they were last year. The Giants are going to eventually make the moves with their young blood, get a couple more wins. Other than that, though, it's the Eagles' year, and nobody else goes above 500.
No, I agree, and I do think that the way you laid it out is valid. I think that the Dallas Cowboys, given their offensive weapons that they do have, that puts them in number 2 just because the other two teams are just that weak. So yeah. I think it's going to be Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders. I think the Eagles are going to finish off the year. I think they could go 13-4, but they could also go 14-3. I don't see them going undefeated the rest of the year. I think 13-4, 14-3 is about where they're going to finish.
Yeah, and ultimately, dang it, I did it again. But if Jaden Daniels, and again, this goes back to what I said about another team too. Injuries are killing certain teams this year and their projections. It did it with the Bengals. It did it with what Baltimore's looking at so far the first half of the year. It did it to Washington this year. They would be way better sitting. They'd finish way higher in my postseason poll if their injuries wouldn't have killed them. But with everything that's happened and the way they're playing with their backups and their depth, it's just not their year.
Nope.
So, I'll let you pick. Which one are we doing next? Do you want to do the NFC West or the NFC North?
No, let's do the NFC North, buddy.
Oh, boy. This is going to be the best one. So, this is the division we both agreed is the most competitive division in football right now as far as who is going to be the number 1 team in their division. You have the Packers at 5-2-1, 1-0. The Lions at 5-3, 1-2. The Bears at 5-3, 0-2. And the Vikings at 4-4, but 2-0 in the division. I'm about to blow your mind right now. That tie that Green Bay has kills them in winning their division. While Green Bay finishes 4-2 in their division, the second best division record in their division, they missed the playoffs. A 9-7-1 record, and every other team finishes 10-7.
Wow. Now,
I have the Vikings going 10-7 with a 5-1 division record, getting them the number 1 spot.
Wow.
10-7 for the Bears, 2-4 in the division, which ironically enough gets them number 2, because I have the Lions not being able to win division games and going 1-5 in their division and beating everybody else outside of their division.
Wow.
I told you this one's going to be a good one for you.
You and I are both Star Wars fans, so I think you'll appreciate my impression. Your tie will be your undoing.
But From what I've seen out of Detroit this year and what I've seen from Chicago, I told you at the beginning of this year, it's the same trend in Chicago every single year. You draft a quarterback, you tank, you fire your coach, you bring in a new coach, they do great. Chicago is on that uphill trajectory. They're coming back up like I said they were going to. I don't understand what's going on in Minnesota, but they're beating everybody in the division. They can't win outside of the division, but they're beating everybody in the division. And that's what's going to get them the division crown this year is the fact that they can beat the Lions. They can beat the Bears. And I have them splitting the series with the Packers, which, again, doesn't help Green Bay because that tie is ultimately going to be their demise. But I think it's the Vikings and Bears top two in the North this year.
I'm still kind of like you. I think the Packers are too inconsistent. I think they are worse than their record indicates. And again, you and I both look at ties the same way. A tie, but might as well just be a loss. So
because
really,
if you look at what I have right here, they beat the Cowboys. That 4-2 record puts them at second place and puts them in the playoffs. Whereas that tie dropped them out because they don't have 10 wins to compete with everybody else.
Yeah, I think the back half of the year is going to be pretty telling. I still think this is the Lions division to lose, but I do see that the Lions and Vikings working their way up, and it could be a toss up between the two of them.
Well, here's my thing with the Lions right now, and like I said, they're 1-5 in the division. You look at you take that and go into their out of division record. Then that takes them to 9-2. I'm not saying the Lions are bad. The Lions are still one of the teams you want to try to avoid messing with because they will get you. It's just for some odd reason this year, they just can't hang with the division. I have them losing to Chicago in the back half of the year just because, like I said, I feel like Chicago is going to finally get hot again. And I don't think they're going to beat Minnesota, and it's tradition that the Lions always lose on Thanksgiving. I don't think we break tradition this year. This is the only reason I don't have the Lions at number one in the division is just because they're going to not be able to hang with the rest of the division.
We'll see. I don't really know which way to call this other than I still think this is the Lions division to lose.
And like I said, the 9-2 out of division, I don't want to discredit Detroit. It's just until they can win a division game, I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I don't think they're going to beat Chicago in the second half of the year like they did the first half of the year. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's my frozen take for the second half of the year. Right there, the NFC North. We saw how good my first one went. So if you're listening, bet on the Packers. I have them last. Bet on the Packers.
The Vikings are going to be your second half version of the Cardinals in the first half.
Like I said, if you take Fred's advice, Fred always says do the opposite of what I do. So if you do the opposite of what I do, it'll be Packers, Lions, Bears, Vikings. Put that in your bet. You'll bank on them. You'll thank me for that later when you win a bunch of money on that. But anyway.
And by the way, Fred, excuse me, Ray is going to need that money because at some point, Ray and I are going to have a guys' night at some point, and we're going to be having a little bit of fun. So Ray needs a little bit of cash for that guys' night. So fun a little bit.
If you make that parlay, keep me in mind. Just remember, I told you to make that bet. But anyway, so then the last thing we have is the the NFC West. You have like I said,
the NFC best.
Yeah. The surprising team to me, like I mentioned at the start of this podcast today, the Seahawks are 6-2, 1-1, currently sitting at first in that division. The Rams are 6-2, 0-1 at second. The 49ers are 6-3, 3-0. And the Cardinals are 3-5, 0-2. The way I have it finishing is the 49ers go undefeated in the division. They sweep everybody and win the division based off of the division sweep. The Seahawks and the 49ers will finish with the same record. But again, just like I said was going to happen up in the North, the division record gets the 49ers the win here. Seattle's still 14-3. They're going to be the number 5 seed, the best wild card team in the NFC. But it's the 49ers division this year. I think the Rams finish 11-6, but the Cards obviously just fall off and go 5-12.
I don't know. You're a lot more bullish on the Niners than I am. I think their injuries are going to start to catch up with them, man. I've been saying that for a while now, and I've been eating crow. But I really do think their injuries are going to start catching up to them. I don't see them being able to sustain this for that long with that many injuries.
They got to get healthy at some point. is the way I'm looking at it. You can't be injured all season. If you can get injured at the right time, they're getting injured at the right time. Early in the year, they're still winning games. You get healthy at the end of the year, then boom, you're back to being that powerhouse football team.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that you and I had this conversation, at the beginning of the year before we had our first pod. I think this is going to be the Seahawks division. I do.
Yeah. As much as I hate to say that I was wrong, and granted, I still have the 49ers winning division, but I'm wrong about Seattle, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Which brings me to my number 1 through 7 in the NFC, and then we'll start how I have the playoffs looking for the year and who I have in the Super Bowl. Now, I'll go through my 1 through 7 here first. The number 1 team I have is the 49ers. I have them being the number 1 team in the NFC this year. I think that when they get healthy, the fact that they keep winning games while injured, once they get healthy, nobody's going to beat them. I have them finishing as the number 1 team. Your Eagles are going to finish as the number 2 team in the NFC. The Buccaneers are going to finish as 3. Vikings at 4. Seattle at 5. Rams at 6. And the Chicago Bears sneak in over the Lions as number 7.
You're so wrong. About everything. You're so wrong.
So, come on, what do you have that is your top 7?
Okay, so Eagles number 1, clearly.
Okay.
Obviously.
There's no bias in that at all or anything.
I mean, there's some bias, but I'm also about it. They're just right now the best team in the NFC, and there's no getting around it other than the Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers are going to be your 2nd seed.
You agree to disagree, sir. But anyway, I think whoever wins the NFC West is your number 1 seed. Whether it's the 49ers to Seattle, whoever wins the West is your number 1 seed in the NFC this year.
No. Tell you what, Eagles 1, I think it's going to be Seahawks 2, Bucks 3. And then whoever ends up winning the NFC North is going to be 4. That could be anybody. I do think the other. I'm going to stand by this. I think the NFC North is going to send. Well, no. The more I think about it, no. At the beginning of the year, I said the NFC North was going to be sending 3 teams to the playoffs this year. That's not happening. They're only going to be sending 2.
The West is sending 3 teams this year.
That's what you think. I still think they're going to be sending the Rams and the Seahawks. So take that as you will.
The 49ers are going to make it?
No.
Dude, they're 3-0 in their own division. Nobody else in the West has been able to beat the 49ers, and they're injured. When they get healthy,
they're not.
You really think that's going to make a difference, considering they're already beating everybody in that West right now?
They're not going to get healthy. They're next to a power substation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I forgot that part. We talked about that in the beginning, yeah. Then you also say that's full crap. That was your whole stop it segment.
I'm just saying what I'm hearing. I'm just saying what I'm hearing.
But so you have whoever wins the North. You're riding the Lions train. You said it's theirs to lose. Who are your 3 wild card teams then?
I'm going to say that. Oh man. That's tough. I do think that the Seahawks. Well, the Seahawks I have going as 4. Well, the Seahawks are going to be 3. Lions are going to be 4. I think that the Rams are going to be 5. I think they're going to be 5. Let's see here. I could see the Packers getting in at 6. And I'll tell you.
This feeds into what I just said earlier, guys. Bet against me. I have the Packers finishing last. He just put them in the playoffs. Bet on what I said the opposite, though.
So is that what I'm saying? Tell you what, I'm going to stick to my original prediction that the NFC North is going to be sending 3 teams to the playoffs. I'm going to say the Vikings are 7.
Okay. So, like I said, ultimately, though, the only thing that really extremely stands out, if you will, between our NFC predictions is how the NFC North is going to play out.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what is the severity of that, because it's too close to call. as much as I want to say I know what I'm talking about being a fan of the NFC North, it is entirely too close to call. That's just my prediction. But it's like you said, anything can happen in that division. It is, but I still think, and I've been hearing a lot of people say it on all of these NFC North pages I follow, that tie is going to kill Green Bay this year. And as close as everything is, that's going to be the death of Green Bay this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, looking at how I have the playoffs looking, my wild card.
That Ray's wacky world of football plays out. This is what we're going to go with.
The sad part is you agree with me as far as the AFC goes. It's the NFC that you think's a little backtrack crazy.
Before we do that, let's just set a few things right. Actually, let's just set one thing right. You need to put the Eagles at 1 because they're going to be 1.
This is my world, not your world. You can do yours later if you want to, sir. But anyway, so my first wild card matchup in the AFC, well, I'm going to bring you a little bit of nostalgia. You ready? The number 5 Patriots at the number 4 Colts. That is my first wild card match of the year. You're going to see a lot of interesting storylines with how I have this playing out. I have the number 6 Broncos at the number 3 Ravens and the number 7 Steelers at the number 2 Chiefs. That is my wild card. In that set of events, I have all the higher seeds winning, being your Colts, Ravens, Chiefs. And then the Bills being the number 1 team. Those are your top 4 that I have coming out of the AFC. The Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Colts.
Yeah.
So while I said I have the Colts coming down a little bit, they're still going to be part of your top 4. The NFC, I have, you ready for this? Number 5 Seattle and Sam Darnold at number 4 Minnesota, where he just got cut from.
Oh, he's going to win that game.
And then I have the number 6 Rams at the number 3 Buccaneers, and I have the number 7 Bears at the number 2 Eagles.
Eagles are going to win.
In this scenario, I have the Seahawks, Rams, and Eagles all moving on to the next round, making 3 NFC West teams in the divisional round, and the Eagles competing with them. So
I think you and I agree. I mean, again, Ray's wacky world of football. I think you and I agreed on those.
So you agree with me in the AFC, though. The NFC, you're like, I don't agree with anything you're saying. But the AFC, you're on my side.
Sure.
You just said you were like, okay, yes, the Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Colts, yes. Don't be backtracking, backpedaling now.
Yes.
But divisional round. Number 3, Baltimore at number 2, Kansas City. A rematch that has been going on. This is the new Tom Brady, Peyton Manning rivalry, if you will. And then I have the number 4 Colts at the number 1 Buffalo Bills. I have the Bills beating the Colts, going into the conference championship game, hosting in their last game in Buffalo Stadium. And then I have Baltimore pulling it out and beating Kansas City and breaking that curse they've had against the Chiefs, going into the conference championship game against Buffalo.
I disagree. I think in that matchup, Kansas City would win, and it's going to go to Buffalo for the AFC Championship.
So, I mean, we ordered a little bit on that one. So far, the AFC, we still have the Bills there consistently. But
their opponent, we disagree on.
Yeah. You're not high on the Ravens like I am. You took them off of your board is what I'm getting out of that.
I did say it was going to be Eagles-Ravens in the Super Bowl, and I'm pulling them off.
Yeah. Now, here's where you're going to get really upset with me. I hope you're ready for this. This is going to be the year of wacky football because, God forbid, it's been so unpredictable. I'm riding with it. This is going to be the wackiest thing you've ever heard of.
Oh,
I have number 5 Seattle at number 2 Philadelphia, and I have number 6 Rams at the number 1 49ers. I have both away teams, both low seeds, going on the road and winning, and you have a conference championship being hosted in Seattle with the 5 seed playing against the Rams as the 6 seed.
You're wrong. As always, you're wrong.
I told you before we started that you were not going to like anything I had to say about the NFC, and this is exactly what I was trying to warn you about.
Eagles would win. Let's just be honest with each other, okay? Let's just be intellectually honest with each other.
You can't deny how good Seattle's been looking this year, though.
They've been good, but they haven't played. I mean, I know the Eagles haven't looked like the Eagles of last season, but they haven't played a team like the Eagles. And I'm still saying that the Eagles have the most complete roster in the NFC.
I think I'm gonna do what I did with the Eagles, what I did with the Packers last week. This game on Monday night is going to be telling for Philadelphia. How they play Green Bay is going to say whether, in my opinion, if you're right about this game right here that I'm talking about, or if I'm right. Because if they can't beat Green Bay, Seattle's going to take care of them easily in the playoffs. But if they handle Green Bay, take care of business, and beat them by 10 plus points, then you're right. The Eagles are going to go. But as of right now, I need to see what happens on Monday night.
I mean, I'm not superstitious. I'm not even a little stitious. But the Eagles are wearing the same uniforms they wore back in Brazil.
Here we go with that.
I think they're going to win.
Speaking of post-wrap here, we need to talk about if we're doing anything Monday night or not for that then.
We'll get there.
Because I think that would be interesting for a lot of people to see how true of a fan we are to our teams. Because I've had conversations with people where they're like, Ray, how can you pick against the Packers? How can you be so down on the Packers? Why are you so against them? And I tell them all the time, it's like, I try to think realistically. I have the teams I root for, but I also try to be impartial when I'm trying to do my picks as well, which you guys have harassed me so much, that ends up being my demise all the time when I bet against Green Bay. If I bet for them, they lose. When I bet against them, they win. So it's we'll just have to see how it plays out for Green Bay this year.
We shall see.
But in my wacky world of football, your conference championships are Baltimore at Buffalo, which I have Baltimore winning to go to the Super Bowl. And then you have the Rams at Seattle, and I have Seattle winning and going to the Super Bowl. So while I still have two bird teams, we just have a different bird team replacing for the NFC.
So, disagree. I still think it's going to be Buffalo and Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. I said this last year and it bit me in the butt, but I do think that this year the Bills are just better than the Chiefs. I think the Bills this year they're going to exercise some demons. They're moving on to the Super Bowl.
And if they do, they're doing it because, in my opinion, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm starting to get sick myself here, like you were last week. But like I said about the Colts, Irsay died. They're doing it for Irsay. I feel like the Buffalo's doing it because it's their last hurrah in their home stadium. So if they do, that's them going out in style. I just don't see it happening. I'm still high on Baltimore. This has to be their year. Because when injuries happen, I was like, okay, they're down to 2-5. I'm off the Baltimore train. But the Steelers lost to Green Bay. Lamar came back, and he beat the crap out of Miami. And it's like, okay, there's hope here. If they can get healthy, they still have, in my opinion, the best roster in NFL right now. It's just a matter if they can actually produce with said best roster in football.
We'll see.
And I'm still on the high Baltimore train. I have them winning it all. I just, it has to be their year. That's what is ingrained in my head. If they can't do it this year, there better be some firings next year because your window is closing fast. And Harbaugh's been there for how long? You better start doing something with what you got. This has to be their year.
I do think that Jim Harbaugh, this back half of the year is going to be telling. If he can at least make his team competitive and get to the playoffs, his job is safe. But if he can't get to the playoffs this year, he's going to be on the hot seat. But again, I'm still taking the Bills in the AFC. And in the NFC, I think it's going to come down to the Eagles and whoever else. It might be.
I'm going to say for you, probably the Eagles and Bucks, because you've been high on both of them all year.
It might be the Bucks. I think it could be the Bucks, especially if they're going to be playing in Tampa before going into the NFC Championship game. The Bucks haven't been good, even with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. The Bucks have not been good in cold weather games. It's just different when you're playing in cold weather games, especially with that much on the line. Baker Mayfield has never been to a conference title game ever in his career. I think that stage is a little too big for him. Jalen Hurts, the whole organization in Philadelphia, been there, done that, will handle business. They're going to be punching their ticket to a second Super Bowl, and they're going to be meeting the Buffalo Bills.
So who do you have winning that Super Bowl matchup? Eagles, Bills.
I think the Bills are going to be a tough matchup for the Eagles. You know, Josh Allen he's a legit quarterback. He's going to be the best quarterback that the Eagles are going to face. this season if they get to that point, just like how the Eagles were facing the best quarterback they had faced all year last season against Patrick Mahomes. Now, is it going to be the same kind of production from their defense? No. I see that being a nip and tuck ball game. I do see that being a high scoring game, but I think that history is going to come back and haunt the Buffalo Bills. The Eagles, Vic Fangio defense, they're going to bend. They're going to allow Buffalo to go on a last-second drive, get into field goal position, but it's not going to be wide right this time. It's going to be just like how it was when it was the Eagles and the Rams in Philadelphia. It's going to be Jordan Davis, and it's going to be Jalen Carter blocking a field goal to win a Super Bowl.
So you're still high on the special teams this year, making the big plays.
I am, and honestly, if I had to say, look, we need you guys to do this one more time, and we're Super Bowl champions for a second year in a row. They can get it done in that situation. I would say, honestly, if they can, really talking about weird, wild, wacky, hypothetical world of football here, if the Eagles, let's just say they do allow a last-second drive but hold firm and stop Josh Allen and the Bills at their own 40-yard line, even their 45-yard line, that's a makeable field goal, but it changes the angle of trajectory for you as a kicker. And I do think that if you put Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in that A gap on assignment and say, look, this is to win the Super Bowl, I think they can.
Sorry.
But I do think that that Super Bowl 60 is going to be won by Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis blocking a field goal to deliver a third Super Bowl to the city of brotherly love and a first time back-to-back Super Bowl championship to the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm not sold on Philly this year. I think the way they've been playing the first half of the year, but granted, nobody's played great in the first half of the year. I have somebody at the school I work at who does a podcast himself. Him and I banter back and forth quite a bit too, and he's even said himself, not a single team stands out in the NFL this year. Let's just be brutally honest. Nobody is ahead of anybody right now. It is ultimately anybody's ball game. It's a matter of who. The second half is ultimately going to be telling as to what we're going to expect from playoff time.
Yeah, I agree.
So go on to your surprise segment here. What do you got for me? Bring it on.
All right, so this is the surprise segment here on Frozen Takes. This is the segment where Alex just goes off on a tangent and scratches an itch that I've been needing to scratch for a few days.
I'm scared.
Don't be. We're going back in time. We're gonna be scratching that nostalgia itch. So today, when I was getting ready for work, I was getting my workstation set up. I turn on Spotify, and what song comes on first before any other song comes on? It's Dance Dance by Fall Out Boy, and my memory takes me back to Madden 03 and 04 when that was on the playlist in Madden. And I just went down memory lane and just started listening to all the old Madden tracks. For us, we played Madden, all through high school. We played Madden after we both graduated high school. That's really, I think, where our friendship really kind of had its foundation, where it really grew into what it is now. But looking back,
all them tournaments, playing against each other, building all the super teams based off of like 2-3 teams at random kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it was one more game would turn into one more game for 4 more hours, and
nothing beats our college football game with the 7-8 overtime football game. Nothing will ever beat that.
Both of us won. We didn't care who won, but anyway.
When that comes back up on my timeline, I will share that on the Frozen Takes page. Don't you worry.
But for me, I went down memory lane and I thought, man, what was the greatest Madden that had the greatest soundtrack for me? It's that old-time Madden 03, 04, 05. But, Ray, when you think Madden and you're thinking soundtrack, when you're thinking, man, when you're booting up Madden and you're going through the menus and you're building your team, getting games set up, what comes to your mind?
Oh, my, you're putting me on the spot on that one. Like, I'm really trying to dig back in the memory bank. You got to remember, I'm getting older. My brain doesn't work like it used to anymore.
But you are the music guy.
Oh, man. I think back to Oh my God. It's definitely back in the where it hits home the most is the 03, 04 range, like you said. A lot more of like the pretty much anywhere between 2000 to 2009 is my era of Madden music. I
Agreed.
can't really pick on anything specific, but when I boot up, it's those songs coming off of those that instantly go to my head. But that's also, if you look at it, I'm gonna hurt your feelings a little bit. A generational thing. We're getting older. The new music to us is what was the 2000 to us. Our parents are going, "What the heck is this crap?"
Yeah.
So it's as much as like that's generation to us. My son's gonna look at it and be like, "Dad, what kind of music you listen to? This sucks. Why are we listening to this?" In fact, what was it the other day? Oh man, this is just last week and my brain's not working. It was Mr. Bombastic from Shaggy. You know that song, right?
Yeah.
We grew up with that. That was our high school dance music, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
My daughter looked me in the eye and said, "Nobody listens to that. Turn it off. That is the worst music I've ever heard in my life."
Girl, you got great to do.
So, and I told her, I was like, "You have no idea how much of a jam that was when I was your age in school." And she's just like, "No, never again. No, just shut it off." So it's ultimately, like I said, just a generation thing.
I agree.
My favorite Madden though is honestly going to go back to when a rookie graced the cover. Let's see if we can you can remember who that was. We'll test your memory bank. Who was the rookie that graced the cover of Madden?
A rookie. Oh man!
If
So
you
let
would
me
like a
think.
further hint, I can give you another hint.
Oh, I think I know. Wasn't it Madden 08 or Madden 09? It was Vince Young.
Yes, sir. That is the one I am talking about. I was so high coming out of college with the team he had. He upset the juggernaut that USC was back then. He just never played out in Tennessee.
No.
He even had CJ2K as his running back, and that's a name I bet you haven't heard in a while either.
Yeah. Yeah. You and I all. Yep. You and I all the time going back and forth about whenever we were doing our fantasy drafts, who was going to draft CJ2K first.
I remember picking Vince Young, and that was back when scrambling quarterbacks still pissed everybody off. And granted, he wasn't the scrambler, but I could make it work with him, and it pissed so many people off because I just go whoop whoop downfield and we're good to go.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man. Well, that's a good trip down memory lane, and I think that does it for us here on Frozen Takes. We had talked a lot of NFL on this episode. Gave you guys some interesting previews for what we think is going to happen in the second half of the NFL season. We're going to wait and see how that plays out. Ray and I are going to
bet opposite of me. Don't bet what I said. Bet the opposite of what I said.
Bet opposite of Ray. We are going to get back to you guys on our Frozen Takes Facebook page with Ray and I's plans for the Eagles-Packers game, so stay tuned for that. As always, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Check us out on Discord. Ray, what's up, buddy?
Don't forget to make your picks, sir. I haven't made mine yet. In fact, do you have a way to bring them up? I don't remember what the games are for this week off the top of our head. We can make our picks right now.
I don't, but if you have them written down, we can certainly go over
I lied. I have it right here in my handy-dandy notebook. I lied. It's ironic that I just flipped to the right page right off the bat here. We'll make our picks for the week, and then we'll wrap it up here. We have on Thursday Night Football the 2-6 Raiders at the 7-2 Denver Broncos. I feel safe saying we're both picking the Broncos on that one. We have the 3-5 Atlanta Falcons playing the 7-2 Indianapolis Colts in Berlin.
Colts.
I'm picking Atlanta. Atlanta is that team. You agreed with me. We don't know if they're good. We don't know if they're bad. And, oh my God, they're just went all of my stuff again. Everything's blowing away, sir.
Oh no.
But no, they're that inconsistent team to where they play great and blow out a team, then they'll go and get blown out the very next team. This is an international game. This is a chance for them to get whatever track they're on. I have them beating the Indianapolis Colts this week.
We'll see. I'm taking the Colts.
And then you have on our 1 p.m. game, we have a crap game we're picking. We are not picking a good game. You have the 2-6 Cleveland Browns at the 1-7 New York Jets.
I'm taking the Brownies.
That's what I'm taking too. This might be the first week where outside of me picking Atlanta, everybody has been unanimous because so far everybody else has picked what you've picked. This might be a week where it's like, okay, let's just not even worry about picks. We'll just move on to the very next week after that. We have 5-3 Pittsburgh at the LA Chargers at 6-3 Sunday Night Football. I'm picking San Diego. You got me going nostalgic here. I'm picking the LA Chargers in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chargers on this one.
I just, the way Pittsburgh's been inconsistent, their defense isn't doing well. I have Chargers winning this one here.
Yeah.
Last but not least, the one that's going to pain me to watch the most. The 6-2 Philadelphia Eagles travel to 5-2-1 Green Bay on Monday Night Football.
There's a part of me that says the Eagles are going to get upset, but then there's the diehard fan. I got to take Eagles.
You see, you remember what I said, how I'm trying to be impartial with my favoritism here? Every time this has happened, it's played in my favor. I'm picking Philadelphia.
Oh, boy.
Every time I've picked Green Bay this year, they've lost. Every time I picked Green Bay to lose, they've won. The last time they did this, 2010, when they won the Super Bowl and beat the Steelers. I did not agree with what they were doing. I was against them all the way, and they won it. This year, I was starting to get excited after 2 weeks, but after week 3, I was right back to where I was, doubting Green Bay like I was in preseason, if you think about it. I wasn't even high on Green Bay to start the season before their first game with Micah Parsons. I'm continuing on my doubt and hoping that it proves me wrong like it always does with Green Bay, and I'm picking Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm going Philly.
So, but okay, that's our picks for the week. That's our wrap right here. I really hope you don't go undefeated again like you did last week, because I need to catch up in the standings. I don't like being the bottom guy in the totem pole for this. So
get comfy, buddy. Get comfy.
But unfortunately, we don't have an Uncle Ufo's ad for you.
We're not.
Our main guy Fred has the connection because that's his uncle. So hopefully next time we get Fred intact, we'll have a new ad for you guys coming up. But until then, I'm Ray. He's wrong, and we will catch you guys later.
We'll catch you guys later. See you next time, guys.
Stay frosty.